Hello, good afternoon to all. Greetings from Bangladesh Plastic Goods Manufacturer and Exporters Association and Chan Chao. I am Shamim Ahmed, President BPGMEA, is today's moderator. IPF Online Expo starting from 5th July to 8th July 2021, and we are today on sideline meeting on plastic export opportunities and challenges. As we know, the global plastic market size is around 600 billion US dollar, and Bangladesh is catering less than 1% of the total direct and indirect export together. Our target is to achieve US dollar 5 billion by 2030, but we must explore how. So today we have with us the distinguished panelist and keynote speaker. I introduced my keynote speaker today, Mr. Manzur Ahmed, advisor FPCCI and reputed personality who lead the private sector negotiation with the policymakers. Mr. Manzur Ahmed drafted the many advocacy paper on behalf of the private sector. We have with us the former Secretary, Ministry of Commerce, Mr. Shubhashish Bose. Mr. Bose also was the Vice Chairman of the EPB as the top boss responsible for country's export policy and the export promotion. We have with us Mr. A.S.M. Kamal Uddin, former President BPGMEA and also President PVC Resin Manufacturers Association. He was also the former director of the FBCCI, a very successful entrepreneur. We have with us Mr. Ferdous, also former president of the BPGMEA and director FBCCI. Mr. Ferdous was involved with plastic sector as an investor since last 35 years. He loves to develop innovative products. We have with us Mr. K.M. Iqbal Hossain, our vice president of BPGMEA. He is a very successful entrepreneur and he is in pharmaceutical plastic product manufacturing business. Now may I request our keynote speaker, Mr. Manzur Ahmed, to present his today's paper, Export-Led Plastic Sector Development Policy Opportunities and Challenges. Mr. Manzur Ahmed.
Thank you, Mr. President. And greetings from Manzur Ahmed to all the viewers around the world, at home and abroad. Firstly, I would start by shedding your fears or a guilty feeling that being a plastic entrepreneur, you are destroying the world environment. No, sir, you are not. Please bear with me. The greatest polluters of the world are nuclear wastes, mobile and solar equipments that are being easily dumped around the world. These are more lethal and dangerous. And if we do not something within 200 to 300 years, all life forms will be destroyed. There will be no fish to drink plastic garbage left. So bear with me that you are the least cost hazardous option in the world. Plastic is the least cost hazardous or easily surmountable problem. This is what plastic is. Plastic being a very low cost production, energy efficient production process, and it can integrate itself with all the consumer item. Consumption from the basic family consumption to high-tech consumption, industrial consumption, even NASA space consumption. There is not a single sector of consumption which is not and will not be integrated with plastic, some form of plastics. So bear in mind, you are contributing to the world development with least cost option, with the least energy resources, least wealth resources, but providing maximum services. So you should be proud of yourselves. Having said that, let me come to the second point. If you observe the environmental footprint, there is a concept on environmental footprint, how different products affecting environment, GHG emission, environmental pollution, etc. our jute is one of the topmost, highest environmental footprint. Textile bagging, textiles, paper bagging, paper covering. These are the products with highest number environmental footprint. Whereas minus litter, environmental is a heavenly product. Plastic is a heavenly product. I think it will be used in heaven also because there will be no pollution as such. If you control the litter of plastic, like all other litters, plastic products is a most consumption friendly and environmental friendly products. But in reality, we will have to establish it in real format. That is the challenge. And I start my paper from here. In Bangladesh, plastic sector is easily accessible for the indigenous entrepreneurs because it has a very least cost technology requirement. So with indigenous machinery, they can start. Startups are very easy, and it has a huge domestic market of 17 crore people, and a market in the immediate neighborhood. So this is, and exports are rising. The world consumption of plastic products in all sectors of its consumption is rising very rapidly because this is the most competitive form of providing inputs to any form of final products. If you fly, the 60 to 70% of interior of an airplane is made of plastics. So this is an example, but in everyday life, this is another everyday experience, everyday experience. My paper is structured a bit differently. As I was introduced as an advocacy paper producer for private sector, I am not an academician. In the last 2 days, including 2 days, we had Ferdous, first, we have already, I had 3 sessions. In first session, we had statistics on plastic sector industry, hazards involved, and recycling, etc. In the second session yesterday, we had an extensive paper on waste disposal, hazards, and other aspects of recycling, etc. Today, Sanjay talked about consumption, world consumption, production, world projection data, pollution, etc. And he came out with a brief conclusion, recommendations. My job is to translate these recommendations, these diagnostic study reports that was produced. I had to go through, I have gone through it, it is available in the internet, and I have gone through studies up to May 2021, conducted very extensively in Bangladesh and in Ankara and somewhere else. I have gone through them. My job is to put forward a way forward action plan to our Honorable Commerce Secretary. The former Commerce Secretary has highly said he is not interested in only policy framing, in implementation also. And hats off to him. I am an example. I am a strong supporter of his policies and his other activities in the Ministry of Commerce. So with that encouragement, I take this opportunity to place my paper. In the next slide, you see a series of sectors plastics are used. So these are all known to you. Just to refresh your memory, it has been there. You can go through it. So you can add to it. You can add to it. This is not a comprehensive list. Now I come to the actual presentation part. Before I come to the way forward recommendations of my paper, I want to give you a background. Export. since this is an international forum, I will rewrite it as increasing global market share, mutual global market share to a desirable level, accommodating employment generation, technology transfer, and inclusive growth worldwide of plastics development of plastic sector through mutual expansion of trade and trade relations. That is the concept, focusing on Bangladesh. I will prescribe a advocacy paper focusing on the plastic sector in Bangladesh. This is the structure of my paper. You all know from yesterday's presentations, I will not go for the arithmetics. Arithmetics do not inspire me, nor did it. Einstein was inspired by any arithmetics. I set the trend. I feel you'll have to feel the trend to change the motion. The direct export and indirect exports, you have heard lot of their direct exports are very few. Indirect exports are much higher. 42 in around 60-40. In deemed export is 60% and direct export is 40%. And the product coverage is concentrated in 3 HS codes. HS code 392, that is sacks and bags of polymer polythene. HS code 392, plastic waste and scrap, and bags and polymer. These are the 3 HS concentrated. So we need to diversify into several areas of world consumption. So that is a challenge. We'll have to meet this challenge. There is another challenge. The existing market, GSP market, duty-free market access we have. We have market access in almost all countries. We are exporting. If you go to the next slide, Bangladesh as an LDC enjoys tariff-free market access not only in the EU but also in several other countries, but its potential is underutilized. United Kingdom, only 26% of potential is currently being utilized. We could spend more, we can export more because of lack of elasticity in our production. We cannot meet them. We do not have access to, we have access, we have duty-free access, only 26% of potential is met. In the United States, only 33% potential is currently being utilized. And China, Japan case is very.
Is it for the plastic sector?
These are plastic. We have a potential, but only 26% of potential in United Kingdom. Out of 100, we export 26% only. So there is a lot of area to improve. We have given you our market destinations. Is going to now the second challenge, the bigger challenge is after 2026, thanks to the development and other international indexes, parameters of development, Bangladesh has qualified along with other 3 or 4 countries to graduate out of LDC list of United Nations in 2026 with possibly a grace period of 3 to 4 years, which we have appealed. The LDC have appealed to increase to another for 12 years, which may not be accepted, but I can foresee 4 or 5 years may be added to 2026. So safely around 2003 may be the cutoff date, which will be able to benefit duty-free, quota-free, existing duty-free benefit. What happens next? That is we'll have to challenge it. We have to see that. This is not only the case with LDCs around, but also with other LDCs in the Asia and the Pacific APC region who will face this problem. So what are those challenges? How to go about those challenges? There are ways of doing things. The tariff change, in the next slide I have given you the tariff change. In European Union, the MFN the tariff range, when it vanishes, it will be 6.5. Currently it is 0. After MFN expiry of our LDC period, it will be 6.5%. And US, it is currently, the tariff, MFN tariff is very low, around 1.5% in some and 3.4%. It will remain as such. So it will be almost the same as business as usual. But there is a problem also. Some of our competing countries are negotiating very fast with the United States to enact free trade agreement. Vietnam is one of them. So if they will be enjoying, possibly by 2023, 2024, Vietnam will be able to succeed to enforce the bilateral trade FTA with India, optimistic view although, then we will have to compete with Vietnam with these MFN tariffs. So there is a point to mark. So we'll have to counter this. There are other countries, South American countries, Caribbean countries, who will be also duty-free on plastic products. Bangladesh enjoys a substantial preferential arrangement, 7-10% in plastic terms in India. India is one of the largest exporting country, and its currently margin is 7-10%. We are exporting zero tariff. When we get duty-free, it will be 7-10% higher. Even duty on these items will be 9.5%. It will be major setback for Bangladesh. And for a developing country, the MFN tariff for SAFTA under SAFTA will be only 8.22%. So it will a substantial rise with India. So we'll have to address that, keep these things in focus. So is the case will be the other countries also. In China, the current preference margin for Bangladesh is 10% for the products included in HS code 3923 and 6.3% for the products included in 3906. When graduation, now it is, we are having zero tariff advantage, but after expiry of MFN, if you do not improve our bilateral relations with China, it will go up to 7.9% from 0%. So this is a major setback, provided that Vietnam, Cambodia and others and ASEAN region have duty-free and RECP countries have duty-free relation with China. So if you do not join RECP, the China market will be totally lost, absolutely a red block. Among others, Bangladesh gets duty-free access in Japan and Republic of Korea against the MFN duties of 3.5% and 6.4% respectively, which will be also lost unless you join with them more intimately in trade relations. These are big countries we are exporting. After graduation, the tariff rate in Japan will register a small rise, but the corresponding rise in the Republic of Korea, 6.3%, considering after non-LDC preference, will be a detrimental effect on our exports. There are other aspects also. The incentives, cash benefits, and other export incentives will be questionable. So if you do it, it will be faced with anti-dumping and countervailing duties. So it will be actionable. Now, as an LDC, you have some sort of flexibility, and they seldom apply, but some of the countries still apply. Sir, you can remember Brazil's countervailing anti-dumping duty on Bangladesh still prevails last 10-15 years. India every other day is imposing. So these will be more frequent after graduation. So you'll have, these are the challenges of export focused on Bangladesh. Similar challenges will be for other LDCs and developing countries if they do not improve, if they have to trade on MFN tariff, worldwide viewers, if you have to deal with MFN tariffs and not engaged with your target market by preferential or free trade relations, then you will have to face the similar setbacks. So we will have to jointly focus how to read this. To turn challenges into opportunities, we will have to turn these challenges. If you address these challenges, any challenge, if you address any challenge, it creates opportunity for development. Never be despaired with challenges. Challenges are to be surmounted to create more opportunities. That is the spirit we fight on. We fought for our liberation and we got liberation. There were challenges on liberation war. I'm glad that I could take part in my liberation of my country. I share with my viewers. Now, the first challenge is environmental challenge. The so-called plastic being a nasty boy, creating hazards in the ocean, beginning from the ocean down to your lane. There is a UN environmental program, 1918-25 goals. This is a mandatory goals. Signatory countries, all signatory countries, 192 this is mandatory goals. There are 3 goals for plastic sector. Eliminate the plastic items we don't need. Obviously, we fail to disagree. 2, innovate so all plastics we do need are designed to be safely reused, recycled or composted. We all agree and we are trying to comply with. Our national laws, our national institutions are working in this regard, as well as the entrepreneurs also. But here performance need to be more marked, visible, tangible and enforceable, which is lacking. We need to improve on this. Circulate everything we use to keep it on economy out of environment. And this is the most challenging task because it involves not only the entrepreneurs, business, but the consumers. It is the general civic awareness, civil awareness that will promote it, nothing else. No law can say you are prohibited to litter plastics. Nobody will obey. You have to, this is the biggest challenge. Circulate everything we use to keep it in the economy and out of environment. The waste disposal at the industry level, at the consumption level, at the consumer level. These things for all, not only for plastics. You will have to do it for nuclear waste, you have to do it for mobile. You just throw out your mobile battery in your waste bag. Oh, it will create it. You will be dead by every living thing will be dead by 200 years. Within the next 200 years. Finished. No life form can exist. These are very lithium and other chemicals. These are all lethal and indestructible lethal chemicals. They will destroy your environment like anything. So, we'll be aware of it. Now, I have 2 suggestions in this regard. Suggestions are 2, but very explicit and very, very important. Merely saying that there are occupational hazards, there are need to be improved and work together, it is nothing. These are nothing doing here. You will have to work like our secretary had said. You have to have a policy and implement it in right earnest. Now, let me structure my suggestion in 2. The compliance issue. Without compliance, you not be able to market your products, I tell you. Not only in export sector, even in domestic sector, I tell you. So, worldwide, this is going to happen. All governance must ensure this. Now, my suggestion is, please note, adopt and implement appropriate waste disposal practices. Mind my words. I have chosen these words for last 10 years. Establish effective recycling chain. In production line, recycling chain. Chart it out. Maintain it. And in Islam, we will have to, when we pray, we will have to recite some surahs mandatory. Surah Fatiha, for example. You will have to recycle chain. You will have to commit it to memory. Put it into your practice as a habitual practice. Otherwise, it will not happen. And cost-effective, compliance-friendly regulations. The regulations are framed by line agencies. It cannot be rent-seeking. If you do not do it, you will have to pay a fine. If you give me something, your fine will be deferred. This system will not work. This is now prevailing not only in our country, in most of all other countries. Dishonesty is not a monopoly. Dishonesty is spread over whole world. So, be aware of it. on self-interest, cost-effective, compliance-friendly regulations, science-based, within the limits of technological capacity of the entrepreneurs and the consumers and whatnot. Disposal of waste and environmental friendly recycling and necessary technical and financial assistance. Now, on your own, you will not be able to do it. There are funds in the World Bank and IMF and other donor agencies funds. These are funds are consumed by multinational companies, but not for SMEs, because your government do not know it. Your SMEs do not have it to regular funding, let alone this sort of technical funding. So you must be aware of it. Without being aware of all these side contingencies, you will not be able to perform and adopt a eliminate plastic, the three criteria that has been set by UNEP. And probably through a partnership. Individually it cannot be done, neither by the government alone, nor by the business alone. It should be done by a partnership, with a social obligation. And let me tell you, because I cannot go on at length, I have seen some countries, this waste disposal is highly economically feasible mechanism. It is a business proposition. Waste is a wealth. Waste is a wealth in several countries. They are successful. In Australia, I have seen. In Bhutan even, the waste management is a super class. In Bhutan, if you go to Bhutan, stay there for 7 days and look for their waste disposal and environmental measures, you will be astonished. That is a very good model. Small country, they are highly qualified. That is, it is possible for them. It is all the more difficult for us, but we will have to do it. Then the second bullet is expedite sustainable development of export-led plastic goods and packaging industry by undertaking, among others, the implementation of the following reform agenda, EODB scheme. This is about business. Now, about containing the environmental compliance, I have given you the proposal. It is there all. This should be the terms of reference of any PPP project, which must be undertaken by the government and the private sector and other agencies dealing with these things, and they should go about it with tangible action metrics, year by year, year by year, year by year. Now, about the business proposition, business tools. We have seen many things. We have talked about many things, how to improve our export and compliance requirements. I have supply sides. This can be classified in several heads. There are supply side, there are infrastructure side, there are monetary and fiscal side, there are demand side. I started with supply side constraint or trade rules. Since we are LDC, our trade rules is still primitive, but because of LDC flexibilities, we are just coping with the going about nicely, I would say, with the existing level of our policy efficiency. But when you are competitive as a developing country, you must improve your supply and demand side policies and regulatory regimes, simplification, removal of red tape, unnecessary costs and time to facilitate a business environment friendly policy regime in sustainable and predictable manner. Sustainable and predictability and simplified. These are the criteria for a good rule. Taking care of world requirements, domestic requirements. One example is, we have import policy. It is a classical one. Incoterms is the means of current 80% of world trade is conducted by Incoterms outside banks. Now, we will have to go out of it and follow Incoterms. The 21st century import policy regime should be established, and the export policy, which is just a piece of paper, should be transformed into a legal document, so that the provisions in the export policy are legally binding on all the agencies associated with it. These are the examples. There are other examples also. We will have to go about it. We have to do it within within no time, from yesterday if possible. The second point is to streamline and simplify land and property. First, you start a business, you'll have to 33 clearances and certificates before you start a business, industrial business. How to go about it? We have suggested there have been in industries. Government has taken a cost, ease of doing business initiative, cost of doing business in the BIDA and other wells. There have been, Mr. Sanjay was associated with primarily. I had the privilege of working with him. He had done extremely well. Now he is in the Home Ministry arresting us for nothing. Now, what are those? To streamline and simplify land report, property registration and other related requirements such as registration certificate, land registration certificate, trade license, BST certification, VAT registration, fire license, boiler license in agri products, environmental clearance certificate, etc. from different government bodies by setting up single window services. This is already a BIDA proposition, so government must ensure it. FDI will come if they see that they have to move around in so many places, they will return, go back in the return flight, which is actually the case. A lot of our entrepreneurs have, and Sarah is very much aware of it. So this is the topmost priority here. If you want to set up an industry, make it simple and from a single window. To expedite, government has taken steps. There are 100 economic zones.
Yes.
It is a lot easier there.
Yes.
So this is the motivation. This is the line we must go. You just cannot buy a plot and set up an industry. You cannot do that. It must be prohibited so that the cities around, industries around the city and within the city, creating hazards. So you must also, the secondary task is to replace them into appropriate places. Like for that plastic, we have a plastic project, Mr. Iqbal will detail about it. Expert setting up industrial parks, I have gone through to set single window service, online exchange of dogs. Single window service, in order to facilitate trade, you need lot of service, in custom service, VAT service, tax service, import service, export service. So this should be done through single window. Trade facilitation service, government is setting up national single window already, so we need to expedite it. Previously, it was supposed to have been commissioned by 2019. Now it is going to be, I hope, in the year 2022. Expedite sustainable, predictable, effective investment and business-friendly tax and tariff, which is now for exporters, you will have to go 2 to 3 places to get your tariff back. You are, by law, you are not, you will get duty-free export rights. But in order to get duty already paid on your export imports, you have to go to about 2 to 3 and wait for 6 to or 8 and 9 months to get this. So this is not going to be a cost-effective system. So we have suggested go about it and do it in no time. Withdrawal of TAP, I am not. Provide low-cost funding. Just don't say we don't fund it. Say how and how much. It should not be above cost fund plus 3%. Most of the, what is the cost fund? There are grants for SME development. There are very soft loans for SME developments. There are current accounts prevailing in the without interest. An average year is well below 2 to 3%. So average cost of fund is well below around 3 to 4%. Provided low cost at 3% without collaterals. To be underwritten by Bangladesh Bank and international donor agencies duly authenticated by the respective associated designation support agencies. This is the mechanism, term of reference of industrial investment or starting new venture, along with the venture capital funding. Operation of there are other export factoring services prevailing worldwide. The factoring service provides the exporter worldwide. On your shipment, they pay you 80% or 90% payment outright, and your importer gets it free. They will get a credit of 2 to 3 months. The intermediate bank bears the cost at a very nominal interest. This factoring service will greatly improve the functional efficiency of. I attended a forum of Ministry of Commerce almost 25 years back. Government took the initiative of introducing factoring services. IDLC was the agency, but it did not go about it because it will hamper its own funding. Banks usual natural funding, so the banks are not interested. But government should take the initiative, introduce factoring service. Without factoring service, it is a least cost option for promoting trade and export financing, even for domestic suppliers. If supplying to the government, waiting for the bill, if you supply through your designated bank through factoring services, they will pay the amount of bill, 90% amount of the bill. And after negotiation from the government, they will deduct it from the government. These are the, and for SMEs to integrate, there is export budget covering financial and fiscal incentives for export and harmonization of income tax measures for all export sector with flat 10% corporate tax. Exporters are paying 37% tax, whereas some of the sectors are paying 10%, 12% tax. This anomaly should be removed. Discipline should be established. Set up warehouses. India is doing it, Cambodia is doing it, Vietnam is doing it, China is doing it. Going to the consumer's door, setting up warehouses in in Russia, CS countries, in Middle East countries, and some parts of Europe. It brings the SME products at the doorstep of the consumers. This is one of the best model, along with digital trade. This is the means to promote 21st century trade for small enterprises. Most of our plastic center will be will remain as a small enterprises. There will not be big multinational. There will be some, but a bulk of the industries. I am taking much time. Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
I am setting dedicated physical virtual display space. There are, I will not repeat, demand side measures. Now I come to the conclusion. Demand side measures. To adopt quality standards of Bangladeshi plastic goods and packaging products and harmonize them with standards of mutual trading partners. Points to be noted, sir. We have standards, IS, compare ISO, etc., but not harmonized with others. It will not serve. You will have to match your standard with the requirements of our target countries, the harmonization of standards with mutual recognition agreement. This is one of the foremost tools of promotion of international business on standardization. Second, to set up internationally accredited standard certification body on plastics and packaging products, preferably on PPP basis, to facilitate marketing of plastic goods and packaging products in local and global markets, and also to set up common testing laboratories in each economic zone and cluster. 8 terms of reference. With these terms of reference, you will have to address the standard certification process. Without accreditation, nobody accepts. Without to become a party, now about intellectual property, branding your products. The sir talked about designing. In order to register your design worldwide at 10% of cost, you will have to subscribe to Hague Agreement of WIPO. I am trying to do it for last 20 years. Bangladesh government, Ministry of Industry is convinced, Ministry of Commerce is convinced, Ministry of Foreign Affairs is not convinced. That is why it is not being done. Recently, just a few months back, they have signed the Patent Treaty Corporation. That is how, if a patent application is filed in Dhaka, it will be simultaneously registered in 192 countries at 10% of interest, 10% of cost. Otherwise, you will have to pay huge amount of cost. In signing with Madrid Agreement and Hague Agreement, you register your trademark worldwide by filing an application in your local office. In our Bangladesh, it is Second Bagicha. In Second Bagicha, you file a single application, and within 30 to 45 days, it will be registered worldwide at 10% of the cost, so long you are LDC. LDC 29 LDC countries has already subscribed it for last 20 years. I am ashamed to tell you that we have not been able to do it. Our sir is here. I will call upon you, sir. You exert most of your influence and get it signed. There is no obligation. It will help. I will tell you it later. Onic details. You have to detail. You must be knowing the viewers worldwide. You are well aware, but here we are very short of understanding. So I skip. So what I say is that Bangladesh should sign Madrid Agreement, and Patent Cooperation Treaty have already signed. They should also sign Hague Agreement for designing. We will have to set design center. You have the product design, you register it design, and your product will surmount all MFN tariff. Even if tariff is 7% higher, 5% higher, it will be preferred because of your design and quality standards. Harmonization and recognition of now free trade agreements with whom? Bangladesh is, sir, as you are aware, is signing free trade agreement with Nepal, Sri Lanka, 1 or 2 countries. These are not anything. So you will have to, what we have to do, we will have to go about with Russia, CIS EU bloc. Thereby you get at one stroke, you will get 12 countries FTA with, all competitors are aligned with that. United States and Canadian bloc. You will have to have free trade agreement. Because what we import from United States and Canada is average tariff is less than 3%. Even if we grant them unilateral duty-free access, it will be cheaper for us. European Union, all other countries, India including India, is negotiating European Union. Vietnam's FTA with the Union is already effective. So these are the areas I have chalked out. ASEAN, Mercosur, RCEP. It is easier to negotiate with trade blocs because you have a finite document. And I have gone through, and as our experts, all documents. These are all accessible for Bangladesh. I can even join RCEP. No problem. With only reservation, the problem is about tariff. Our finished products has the highest tariff for 25% plus 15% VAT, etc., resulting in duties of 50% above, which may not be readily acceptable. But with softer concessions we are allowing, they might apply it with a period. Last but not the least, tariff is not the only standing block between trade between the two nations. Harmonization of trade regulations, customs procedure, import-export, trade documents, export documents. These are to be harmonized. Harmonization and recognition of mutual trade rules, regulatory measures, and streamlining bilateral institutional cooperation with the respective trading region and partner. These are absolutely indispensable requirements for fostering trade relations for all goods, including plastic sector. If you do it for the plastics, start to doing it for, it will benefit all the sectors of the economy. So with that, I conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manzur Ahmed. Thank you, Mr. Manzur Ahmed, for your excellent presentation. Very, thoughtful. And as I told viewers that he is a personality of advocacy. So he advocacy for the private sector and for the plastic sector also. He has highlighted many things after a FMN situation, after LDC graduation, and 2030 is the line he mentioned, because in 2030 SDG deadline there. We have a roadmap for 2030. We have a LDC graduation after 2026, maybe 4 hours, then 4 years, then maybe 2030 we have to be a developed country. So there is so many problems that we need to overcome. He also mentioned about the UNEA resolution in Nairobi. He asked that the UNEA resolution is adopted, that UN asked the UNEA resolution that UN should invest more in waste management for the developing country. He also highlighted this thing. He also mentioned that the plastic is replacing aluminum, glass, paper, steel. So far I know that if this not replaced, the CO2 emission will be increased by 4 times. By if it is still the products in glass, metal, steel. So anyway, and he has given due importance for the waste management in nuclear and the electronic waste. It is more hazardous than the plastic waste. So we must, with the future generation, we must take care of this. So on his presentation, may I request Mr. Ferdous Wahid, our former president, to have some comments.
Hello. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Manzur bhai, thank you so much. You have nothing we can speak, you have gone everything. So it's very little to speak about these things. So, okay, let me start one thing. I'm very grateful to Allah that I belong to plastic. In the COVID-19, the way the plastics has supported to this disaster problem, because nobody was ready about these things. Nobody know that this COVID is so dangerous and altogether. We supported, like we have the injection, globe, PP, blood bag, special packaging for the pharmaceutical. These are things we supported for the pharmaceutical people, at the same time the hospitals, that we could save many lives. So this is the things I started from this. Now I have come to the few points that basically packaging, specialist packaging for the pharmaceutical. So I make it this way, so I just wanted to, some problem of these things. This is the top foil and the alloy foil. This foil, we mix it about 6 to 7 material you have to import and we have to produce this. The question is that our main, only buyer is pharma. We cannot produce for the other product. The reason why, this pharma people, they are importing the block list for 5%. And we are importing almost all are 5%, at the same time, one is 25%. So that is the reason why it is very difficult to compete all these things with the international market with this. So we have requested, Manzur I know very well, that if they cannot come out with the block list for 5%, in that case, they should put us a 1% to a fair-filled competition in the market. Manzur bhai, that day, yesterday, maybe, he was telling me when we was having coffee, he said that how you are selling this product to the customer after having so much of taxes and all. I said that yes, the pharma is buying because they are getting profit. One, they don't have to invest any money for the product because they are getting free of charge. In one sense, we are supplying this product. They are giving us after 45 days. So if any product is problem, instantly we change it. But if they import, in that case, they cannot do it. In our law, that anybody import from outside, if it goes out from the customs, you cannot give back to the material to your supplier. So this is 2, 3. So this is the things they are getting the facilities. After that also, they are fascinated, and most of them, they are importing from different countries like Korea and other places. We have another problem. We don't have the basic industry in Bangladesh, like a PVC, like a nylon, like the aluminum foil and all together, hardener, glue. So we have to import it from different countries to make our product over here. But I can tell you one thing, we are making the international standard product. This alloy bottom foil, about 5 to 6 factories in Bangladesh, and blister foil, upper foil, top foil it calls, where you tear it and get your medicine. It's about 40 factories in Bangladesh. So we are enough to give the support to all the pharmaceutical people here with the quality and with the service. This is number one. Number two is that there is a big pressure for us because before we production altogether, we are paying AIT, AT, TDS, altogether about 15% approximately it comes. If the 15% before, you don't know you are making profit or not, but you have to pay 15%. It is very impossible to make any profit over here. So I think this is the things you have to give an attention on this paper, because it's really we're facing a lot of problems. Another problem we're facing, international price has gone 80 to 100% of the raw material. 1 week back, I opened an LC for the aluminum foil. It cost me $4 per kilo. After 1 week, when I asked the price, he has given me 5.40. So you have to understand, in every day, you cannot increase your price. So all those pressures makes us totally a bankrupt. So you have to look into this matter. We have put an industry over here, investing a lot of money, a lot of people are working, so we should work together. This is the problem we are facing every day, every minute. And nobody cannot predict when the price will be stable. When you have material, you have no container. When you have container, you have no ship. When you have ship, material, and container, there is no time when the product will reach to your place. So that is the basic problems you are facing. And I told about the taxation, although you already mentioned over here. I repeat over here. Another thing, export. Export, what I feel myself, because I already get my product approved in Sri Lanka, India, Nepal. They want to take, because if they import from us, they don't have to pay any duty. That's one of the plus points for us. But unfortunately, the tragedy is that to export it, a lot of hassles is there. 3 to 4, already you mentioned over here that this is the places. Hassle-less, you make it free. Lot of new industry will come to go for export. Because of hassle, they don't want to go for that. People are already tired. After that new hassle, they don't want to go for that. My proposition that Taiwan, China, and all together, they used to get this duty drawbacks, all this, from the bank. They give the documents to the banks. Bank know what are the duty you have paid, what are the VAT you have paid, and extra. They're going to pay you in your accounts. Within 1 week time, everything is finished. You don't have to go to any places. You make trouble-free, you see that a lot of people will come for a new export business. Agriculture. I wanted to mention one thing. Agriculture, what I feel, yesterday also I have seen in the Google that lychee and the rambutan and all those things in the greenhouse. And round the year, they're making production, in huge production by the greenhouse. The greenhouse means plastic. Without plastic, you can make the greenhouse. And they have the juice industry, they're supplying continuously. In our country, the lychees and all together in a seasonal product. It's a matter of 1 month or something like that, after that is finished. But they are producing all the year. And this is the things we have to look into this matter. When the greenhouse will come, the more plastic is required, and the whole things will going to be changed out of it. Recycle. Slowly, just put in one thing. Recycle is a business. It's a dirty business. Nobody wants to go there. You want to make them interested to come to the business. In that case, in Thailand, there is one law. There's anybody collect, no duty, no tax, nothing of. Processing, no tax. The person who is going to buy the finished product, he don't have any tax. So you have to get some incentive to come out this way. Manzur is correct. It's a gold. Recycled product is a gold, undoubtedly. But the question, you have to make the gold. How? You have to give the incentive. When people will understand, and the big people is required to come over here. It's not small. Tom Derry will not come because a lot of investment is there. I have seen about 6-7 years back in one of the plastic fair, one British company make one equipment sorting out. Because in plastic, said that we are very clumsy. Sorting out is very difficult. So you put in the conveyor belt, the equipment will going to identify this is PET, this is LD, this is SD, the PP. Maybe by that time it has improved a lot. So this is an investment. So that's also a very important thing, that how government is going to interfere on this matter. They have to encourage us to big people or anybody to invest those materials so that he can come and do the jobs properly, so that he can get a good material, good machine and all. That is the things what I can tell you. I hope I have finished everything. Most of the things I've touched already. So thank you so much. I don't want to go for continue because you already said everything what I said to you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Ferdous for your nice presentation. And he has highlighted many situations regarding he is facing. But anyway, I hope that our international viewers will understand that the situation a third world country should face. And we are very hopeful that all the situation will overcome. And we can create a very good environment for the FDI. And particularly in the plastic sector, I can assure you that there is a much of opportunities we have in the plastic sectors. This the problem that we discussed is I hope that very soon it will be overcome and we can create an cognate environment for the investment. So may I request Mr. A.S.M. Uddin to highlight Mr. Manzur's presentation. And can you invite the FDI, Mr. Uddin? I am requesting you to invite the FDI investment in plastic sector in Bangladesh.
Thank you, Shamim bhai. It is a very nice presentation from Mr. Manzur Ahmed, and he has covered almost every aspect of export possibilities and the hurdles we are facing for a long time. So, first of all, I would like to draw your attention to the fact of working environment in Bangladesh. Bangladesh people are very much work-friendly, workers are very intelligent, and they have got the most adaptability, but do not have proper education and proper training. If we can arrange training for them, and if our general education level goes a bit higher, then it will be a tremendous field for a plastic industry and other industries also. The industries in Bangladesh now are facing a common problem with energy. Our factories are mainly run by electricity and gas. By the gas, we produce electricity, and by this electricity, we operate machines. For the most modern and international standard machineries, uninterrupted power supply is very essential. And together with that, the voltage of the power is also very necessary. Some machine run at an average of 380 voltage. If the minimum 380 voltage, if the voltage becomes lower, automatically the machine stops. So in the grid, the electricity we are getting, there are a lot of fluctuations, and the industries are facing problem with that. But together with supporting industry by developing the energy sector, the production of electricity, the standard of electricity also have to be ensured. Otherwise, our aspiration to have a industrialist countries and to have our country in the developing stage, it will not be possible for us to attain those successes. Regarding the one-door service, it is just a phrase. In practice, for a long time, it is being assured by the authorities, but in fact, in the field, it is not available, and there is no nothing we are finding that in future it will be adopted by the authorities. If the single door service for getting all the services from different sectors. The industry do not get it, so it takes lot of time, and lot of time is money. So if somebody have to wait 2-3 years for setting up effect industry, so it maybe within this time the sector may become non-viable or any other thing may provide problem. So our policymakers and our authorities should provide one-door service. It is most essential. And there are a lot of export that is probabilities from Bangladesh, not only the toys, not only some oven sacks, plastic bags, in every aspect. My friend Ferdous was telling the pharma packaging also can be exported, and plastic bottles and many other products, household products, many others. Almost every products have got export market. So if we develop the base and make the industry smoothly functionable, then automatically the export will increase. So the industry now facing, the cooperation needed by the industry, the percentage of cooperation the industry is getting, the more obstructions they are facing. So if the obstructions are removed, so there will be a congenial field, and what we are dreaming, then only we can achieve. Otherwise, it will be just lip service. Okay. Then another thing, in the export market, some sectors have to be identified. We cannot make exportation, though have got potentiality, but the thrust sector have to be identified, and we may take the sector of toy. Everybody knows China's toy export is almost equal to their garment export or textile export. So in our countries, some toy industries are doing fantastic, but they are dependent to foreign countries for molds, for accessories and everything. They are just doing some conversion work of molding and assembling. So if the government just provide facilities to set up the accessories manufacturing in Bangladesh and modern mold manufacturing, we have got one organization, that is SME Foundation. We told during the time of inception of the organization, we told them to create facilities so that the small industries can get the services and increase their efficiency, and then increase the business. But they are only, till now, they are only confined to provide some small loan to some small manufacturers. These loans may be available from other sources, but if they establish by their fund a mold workshop or accessories works, or the foundation of the sectors, that is by providing training skilled manpower, by imparting the proper healthcare and any other thing. They guide the organization how to develop, how to develop the molds, and if they establish some mold factories by, that is, bringing experts from outside, then after 5 years, many experts, Bangladeshi experts, will be generated. Then by this way, a skilled manpower force will be created in Bangladesh. Otherwise, depending on foreign countries for years together, and even we go like this for another 100 years, it will be very difficult for our country to become full-fledged in every aspect. So we draw the kind attention of the concerned authorities so that in practically not providing lip service, in practice they do make the foundation of industries, and they do support and help the small industries in Bangladesh, including the plastic. So regarding the FDI, Bangladesh have got a very good prospect for investment. We have seen the largest hub of industries, that is China. The livelihood and the cost of wages has increased too much, and day by day they are increasing. So they are not becoming competitive to export markets. Now they are facing hurdles, and in the future their standard of cost will be like Europe and America. So many producers are looking for new places, new countries for their investment and setting industries. So in this case, Bangladesh is a very good place. We know many international investors sometimes visit Bangladesh, and we also visited many European countries for inviting FDI to Bangladesh. So their main concern is that is the environmental position in Bangladesh, that is both political and social. And the hurdles we have been, Mr. Manzur Ahmed pointed, if we assure our authorities are now becoming day by day more friendly and more serious for the development of the country, for investment in private sector, and for creating a good environment for all. So I think things are getting better day by day. So foreign investors now they can think of Bangladesh when they go for finding a new place for their investment. Okay, by these words, I would like to finish my
Thank
discussion.
you.
Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
Mr. A.S.M. Kamaluddin, for your nice presentation. We also agree with A.S.M. Kamaluddin that there is a great opportunity for Bangladesh foreign investors to come and invest. We have some little problem, we know that, but I'm sure that we'll overcome all those problems, we have no doubt. So at this stage, for the kind information, Bangladesh government is setting up 100 special economic zone for the foreign investors. They can come and they can relocate their industry in our country, in Bangladesh. At this moment, I would like to invite our Vice President, Mr. A.S.M. Kamal, Mr. Iqbal Hossain, KM Iqbal Hossain, to have his comments, particularly on the presentation by Mr. Manzur Ahmed. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear President, and my very close and beloved and wise keynote speaker, Mr. Manzur Ahmed. Thank you. He touched every corner and every problem, every aspect he touched. I think nothing left, and my learned, my closer friend, Mr. Ferdous Ahmed and A.S.M. Kamaluddin, they also touch a lot of our weakness and our achievement and some other things. Some days before, I purchased one T-shirt, and there they written, "Waste no time." So I just enjoyed that, and they waste no time. For which I am telling this, you see, today our export lead plastic sector. So how we can develop the export? This is the main thing, I think. How we can develop the export? First thing, quality production, competitive price, well manpower, and a good setup, industry setup. My learned president told 100 economic zone already started. But 1 hour economic zone in Keraniganj, government has given us 100 acre land. 10 acre is for ECG4, technical test center. I'm sorry to say, after 2 years, we got that land.
Positive. Say positive.
After 2 years. But we have lost time. We'll have lost time. Why 2 years? To learn a land, to receive land, I think it's maximum 3 to 6 months. But we finished 2 years. And I don't know after how many days we will get the final result from that technology center. But after all, we are hopeful.
Yes,
We
are
started.
hopeful. We are hopeful. We will be.
But today our program is international. We are giving international program viewers. So we should say something good news from our country. Not our domestic problem. I think it is a lot of problems. We will solve it. We will solve it. A lot of problems. And my learned keynote speaker already point out these things. First thing is this. You see, we told plastic growth, 15 to 20. Why 15 to 20? It means it has a demand in local market and foreign market also. So we are hopeful. We have, my friend Mr. A.S.M. Kamaluddin told, we have a good worker, and we need some technical know-how to learn them. And we also set up one technical center from our association side. That is BPAT. It is a good news for us. Another thing I have seen here, global market, you see 600 billion global market. But how much we are contributing? Only 0.6. It's very few. It's a big hope, I think. We can do a lot. A lot. Another thing, government policy, I noted, government policy, I think government is working, and they will set export-friendly policies. Our learned former secretary is here, and I think he will help us. And with our keynote speaker, he is also our advisor also. And at present, our president, Mr. Shamim Ahmed, is very knowledgeable. And as well as, I will say, our former president, Mr. Uddin, now he is in ABCCI. He is the president of ABCCI. For which I think we will get, the plastic sector will get a lot of support from these sides. So I think always hungry men are always angry. So it is lunchtime. I'll short it. But one thing, you see, land cost is very high in our this economic zone. Just in Karanigans, I have seen beside that area, I can purchase 1 lakh per decimal. But I heard, and already our technology center paid 5.25, I think, lakhs per decimal. So if you invest here in land, then building, then other equipment, then any other certification, any testing, then we will go for export. I think it is some difficulties is there. And the government and the policy maker will see these things. Another thing is a great problem for us is raw materials. If I receive one order from abroad, at that day, the per ton raw materials cost is $900 per ton. After that, its cost is 15,100 taka per ton. Then how you will perform the export? It's another problem. Other things is certification, testing and certification technology, a lot of things. I think ECJ4 is doing something for this. That is very good news for us. You see, in local market, the day before we on a online meeting, I have seen some medical equipment, that is MPPE market, world market. There is a very, we never think for that, urine bag. 60 billion market in outside, world market. But Bangladesh not started. I think it's very easy product, not so. And in Bangladesh also using, every hospital is using. Like this, a lot of items is there, we can export. And now we need policy support and some easy financial support. And already my colleague already told SME loan and other things. Bank interest is very high in Bangladesh. Outside our competitor in China, only 3% or 2% on something else. And our government agencies and bank, they're taking money from outside by 0.25% interest. But they're selling to us 9%, now 9%, before that 15% and some others. So that these things should be, there should be some policies. And I think wise persons are with us, they will think for that. And I think later on we can export a lot from Bangladesh, as because our young generation is very interested, they are working inside and outside country. Thank you everyone, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Iqbal, for your nice presentation. You have highlighted so many things, and we have already noted your points. At this stage, I request our former secretary, Senior Mr. Shubhashish Bose, to give his final comments, and I request him to invite our foreign investors for what are the challenges and what are the prospects that the foreign FDI should come to Bangladesh. He will highlight mostly for the FDI, why FDI should select Bangladesh as the destination. Some points for the FDI investment in plastic sector. Mr. Shubhashish Bose.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Oh, sorry, okay.
We have got with us the past presidents, two of the past presidents of the association, and one vice president here with us, and the most importantly the paper presenter, Mr. Manzur Ahmed, who has been known to me for long, and we participated in so many workshops, seminars, symposia, etc., and he also contributed to the policy formulation of the government. So it's a very comprehensive paper presentation, I would like to say, and he has covered almost all the aspects of plastic sector as well as other sectors of the economy as a whole. If we look at the aspects, I will not go for all the aspects, but I will just highlight on some of the aspects actually. He has mentioned so many important things here. One thing I would like to say that he has suggested us to go for FTA with some of the countries, especially he has mentioned about the CIS countries and Russia. I visited Russia and CIS countries while I was the vice chairman of the Export Promotion Bureau. What I found there, I found that the RMGs are coming from European Union, not from Bangladesh directly. What was the reason? I asked the people, why are you buying the products from European Union? They said that we are getting the products from the European Union, although we know that these are from Bangladesh, but the reason is we are getting the products on credit. We can pay them off after 6 months, 9 months time. But while I was asking my delegation members, why don't you just give them the products on credit? They were saying, we cannot give them credit because the interest rate is high. And if we cannot get back the amount in 6 months time or in 2 months time or 3 months time, whatever it is, then we have got so many problems, because export proceeds should reach Bangladesh within 180 days, something like that, or 270 days, etc. They were saying like that. And there was a prospect, I would like to say, echoing his suggestion, that there should be warehouses there. In the warehouses, we should store the products and we can supply the products at the doorsteps of the customers. That is also possible, and it can give us a huge benefit. But we have to think of that, and FTA should be concluded with countries like Russia and other CIS countries. Uzbekistan is actually producing cotton. They offered us, you set up a plant here, you produce ready-made garments here, we will give you free land and the raw material is available here. So you can take this opportunity. So those kind of things should be taken into account. And I would also mention here that we should go for FTA with the SADC countries. Why not? Because there are 14 countries in the SADC and 290 million people are there. They have got a common customs union. So if the product enters into South Africa, that product can move around the other countries and it will be immensely benefited for the exporters here. So we should go for FTA with SADC countries. In that way, we can also go for FTA with ASEAN, and that will also give us immense benefit. And he has mentioned that FTA with Sri Lanka or PTA with Bhutan or Nepal actually will not give us much benefit. That is true, because those are very small markets for us. And what products can we supply to those markets, and what products can we import from those countries? That is also a matter of consideration. So we have to think of that. Yes, we can have some preferential benefits until 2026, right at this moment. And for the European Union, it is of course up to 2029. But after that, what will happen? So we have to think of that. The government is of course thinking of that, because they are also trying to reach some agreements which would be in the form of comprehensive economic partnership, because India has offered us to formulate one policy for making a comprehensive economic partnership which will cover everything, not only export import but also investment and other aspects, maybe trade in goods, trade in services, etc. Because services is also very important for us. We should not only stick to products, we have to go for services, because these are products which are intangible in nature, and our services sector is actually developing. Once upon a time, EPB did not give us statistics on services because very less figure was there. Only from IT services there was a figure from the Bangladesh Bank, but nowadays so many services are there. So there is a budget, there is a target, not budget, I would say a target. It is $7.5 billion US for the coming fiscal year, and $42.5 billion US for the products. So 50 billion US is the target for the next fiscal year. And the services sector would be developed because we have got highly skilled professionals nowadays. Many people, after receiving education abroad, they are coming back to the country. They can provide services to various multinational companies, international companies, sitting at home. There is no problem for that. So that is a way how we can actually develop. And the vision of the present government is that we have to become developing country, of course, by the year 2021, and we have to be a country which will be fully digitalized. That is the vision of the government. But hopefully, we can also become a digitalized country in course of time, and we have already achieved the target of becoming a developing country because UN Committee for Development Policy, they have recognized us as a developing economy. And it is a matter of pride for us that Bangladesh is the only country which has been able to fulfill all the three criteria together. So that is the achievement, we would say. In 2018, we achieved all the three criteria necessary for being graduated, and of course, in 2021, we also achieved all the three criteria together. So if we could achieve only two criteria, we would become a developing economy. But here, exception is there. Bangladesh has been able to do that. And I believe for the foreign entrepreneurs, it's the time to invest in Bangladesh because we have got an act which is called the Foreign Private Investment Promotion and Protection Act 1980. We developed it in 1980, and that actually gives the opportunity for the foreign entrepreneurs to invest in Bangladesh. They can channel their money through banks, and no question will be asked about the source of the money, and they would be able to bring back their money. That means the repatriation of their capital as well as their dividend. At the time of declaration of the dividends, they can repatriate it to their country, and they can take back their capital in the form of cash or in the form of machinery. There is no problem. They can employ their management staff here in Bangladesh, and the management staff would be able to repatriate 75% of their salaries to their own countries. That is also possible, and it has been enhanced. Earlier this was 50%, nowadays it is 75%. So it's an incentive for them, and they will be enjoying tax holiday schemes. They would be given bonded warehouse facilities, they would be given land, etc. In the export processing zones, we have got 8 export processing zones in the country, and there are some other export processing zones going to be developed very soon, and there are 100 economic zones in the country, and exclusive zones are being given to particular countries. Japan has asked for 3 export processing zones, that means economic zones. India has asked for exclusive economic zones. USA has asked for exclusive economic zones. So the government is actually determined to provide them with the export processing zones or economic zones, whatever it is, and they would be able to enjoy the benefits. And in order to remove all the difficulties, the government of Bangladesh instructed the secretaries, especially secretaries of the Ministry of Commerce, Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Secretary of the Ministry of Labor. These 3 secretaries used to sit together. I myself also sat together with the European Union ambassadors. So that forum was actually called 5+3. So 5 ambassadors from the European Union and 3 secretaries from Bangladesh government. So they used to sit together in the Ministry of Commerce in order to solve the problems the foreign entrepreneurs are facing here. So, that means in order to do the business or in order to ease the difficulties they are facing here, we used to solve the problem. Say for example, there was a problem with release of samples. The samples used to come to Bangladesh and they used to be taxed, but the customs department actually realized that this is very difficult for the exporters to develop the sample and then send the product to the importers. It was not possible for them to send them back in the shortest possible time, but we discussed the matter and the customs department actually opened one window in the airport so that the samples could be released easily. Another thing was that we allow the exporters to bring machineries here at 0% import duty. That means 1% import duty, which is nominal, very much nominal. But when accessories are coming there or the parts or spare parts are coming here, the import duty is taxed at a higher rate. But that has also been discussed with the customs department and they have taken steps in order to ease that. So, these are the examples what actually we are doing. The secretaries are actually doing in favor of the foreign entrepreneurs. We are trying to solve the problems of the foreign entrepreneurs here. So, I would like to urge upon the foreign entrepreneurs to come over to Bangladesh in order to set up their plants. And of course, all the benefits they can enjoy. The policy, export policy of the government is that we have to diversify the product, we have to diversify the market and we have to avail of the China situation. These are the three policies in the export policy of the country. So, our keynote speaker, he has said about the export policy. Export policy is a piece of paper. Actually, it is so because it is not actually backed by legal support. The import policy is called import policy order, but the export policy is not called export policy order. So, it is to be done, of course, in future it will be done, but government is very much sincere about policy formulation so that people can be benefited, foreign entrepreneurs could be benefited. And I believe that the other facilities what have been said about will help set up industries here. Bangladesh is a country of 170 million people. It is a huge domestic market, I would say, for us, for our products. At the same time, Bangladesh is availing of the opportunities. GSP facility that has been given by 38 countries of the world, and other countries are also giving us facilities. Say for example, South Korea, it is giving us facilities for 4,802 products. We are having benefit for those products. Thailand is giving us facilities for 6,919 products. Malaysia is giving us facilities for 525 products. And other countries, some other countries are also giving us facilities like that. So, in that way Bangladesh is enjoying benefits, and I believe that there would be a spillover effect on the economy of Bangladesh by producing intermediate products for the fulfillment of the preparation of the final product in other countries of the world. Two huge countries are around us, China and India. So, their cost of production is increasing day by day. So, if they set up plants here and intermediate products are set up in Bangladesh and those products are being re-exported to those countries, I believe they can also be benefited in terms of their cost of production. That means in the global market. So, I believe this situation or these facilities could be availed of and should be thought of by the foreign entrepreneurs. And Bangladesh is a land which is very fertile, and we have got water, we have got gas, we have got coal, those could be explored. And I believe that in the future Bangladesh has got a vision which is it would be a developed country by the year 2041, and I believe that Bangladesh would be able to do that. And we have got also a Delta plan by the year 2100, and we would be able to fulfill that as well. So the leadership in Bangladesh is forward looking, very farsighted. Leadership is there in Bangladesh. I believe the businessmen who are also working simultaneously in collaboration with the government would be able to fulfill the dream of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, Sonar Bangla, Golden Bengal of Bangladesh. So in that way, people will be emancipated, and I believe that poverty would be come down to zero. In terms of social indicators, Bangladesh has got a good progress, a very good progress, enviable progress, I believe. In terms of GDP growth, Bangladesh is ahead of all the neighboring countries of the world. In terms of per capita GDP, Bangladesh is of course ahead of all the neighboring countries of the world. Social indicators, if we look at about gross enrollment of students in the primary schools, access to drinking water, maternity mortality, infant mortality, etc. In all those terms, Bangladesh is ahead of many countries of the world. So I believe that it is the time when the foreign entrepreneurs should think of investing in Bangladesh. I thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your nice presentation. And we also, from the private sector, we invite our foreign investors to come forward for the investment in Bangladesh. He has highlighted the repatriation of the profit from Bangladesh is very easy investment potentiality. We are investing in the infrastructure. We got the FTA, PTA, and bilateral agreement with many countries. And also there is one good sign for Bangladesh. The China has got anti-dumping duty on many plastic products in many European countries. So ultimately we can say that the Bangladesh is a good destination for the foreign investors. We invite all our foreign entrepreneur investors to come to Bangladesh and invest and get all the opportunities Bangladesh is offering to the foreign investors. Last but not least, thanks to the distinguished panelists we have, and thanks to the keynote speaker for nice presentation. And also, please don't litter plastic waste, and because plastic waste is wealth for you, for us, for all. Thank you everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.